Welcome to Catch the Vision, the show where we unpack the difference between a good idea and a God given assignment. I'm your host, Kevin D. Williams, and today's guest, none other than Steffanie Rivers, who holds a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. This woman got more degrees than a thermometer, right? But here's what makes her story different. She's thriving in two industries where no degree is required. From the skies as a six-figure flight attendant and launching Texas' first Black woman-owned drone academy. So she chose purpose over position, and now we're about to get into it. Degrees, destiny, and drones. How Steffanie followed the vision over the resume. So, Steffanie, let me ask you this question. Did you have a vision or were you given a God-given vision?
Well, I would say it was God given, but I've always been a great writer or a great communicator,
Mhm.
and I didn't know until later that my mother also was a writer in her younger years,
Really?
and so that's probably how I came to be uh, a journalist type. So I like to tell people I'm a journalist by profession because I used to be a TV reporter and a newspaper reporter. And so I love to communicate with the written word. I like to put together videos and tell a story with in that way.
Okay.
So drones is just an extension for me. Being in the drone industry is just an extension of who I already am and what my passion is, which is telling a story with video. And so uh, the that is my vision. And then I think as time goes on and as things change, we as people, we have to change with it. We have to see where do I need to go to continue to be relevant. And so I in 2020 with the pandemic,
Mhm.
I thought, what if my industry as a flight attendant, what if they shut down the airline industry and said,
Mhm.
don't come back? Because they did essentially reduce the flights and a lot of people got furloughed. And so I thought, how do I stay relevant? Because they put us in those two categories. You were an essential worker or a
Oh, not
non-essential
essential,
worker.
right.
And so I thought I always want to be essential. I always want to be relevant. I want to be the answer to somebody's problem. And so when I started looking at what are the growing industry, what is the growing industry, that would be tech. And inside of that is drone technology. And so that's when I jumped in and started my drone company in 2021.
So I want to unpack something real quick. You mentioned change, right? So when I hear someone says, we have to change or I have to change, it makes me think about if we don't change, then we become what I call a blockbuster in a Netflix world, right?
Right.
And we know what happened to Blockbuster. One time they was like 10,000 strong. And today, I mean, the last one was on a Netflix documentary, right? I don't even know if that one's still around yet. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, again, if we don't change, then we will change, whether we want to or not. And when I say we will change, it's change will move you out the way. It will move you out the way. Now, so you earn both a bachelor's and a master's, but yet your highest income so far has come from roles that didn't require either. So, what shifted your mindset from use the degree to follow the vision?
Well, it didn't take me long after college graduation
Hmm.
for me to realize, You know, because the thing is, we are told, I guess everybody, it's an American thing. I know it's
Go to
in
school,
black households. Go to school, get that degree, get a
get
job,
a good
working for
paying
20
job.
years,
Right.
get those benefits,
And
and
get
then you
that Rolex.
retire.
No, not Rolex, Timex.
Exactly, not a Rolex with a
Right.
Timex. And then it's supposed to be, you're supposed to live your best life. That's the way it's supposed to be, well, the story has, as the story goes.
Right.
But it didn't take me long, maybe a couple of years, not even after graduation, for me to think, what's really going on? Because now I've got student loans that must be paid.
Mm.
And then you've got to pay your rent, car note, utilities.
You still got the student loans?
No, as a matter of fact, I paid off my student loans.
Really?
But you know what helped me? Because they garnished my check. That's how I paid it off.
Oh, so you was forced.
I was forced.
Okay.
And
No
so,
choice.
No choice.
Okay.
And it's not that I wasn't paying them.
Right. I mean,
but
yeah.
the government said, you are not paying enough out of your check.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and
take what we think
we're gonna help a sister out.
You should pay.
Okay.
So I ended up paying them probably faster than I would have had I done it at my own pace.
Okay.
But having all those are, you know, some of the regular or the mainstay bills. You got to pay rent or mortgage. You have to pay your car insurance and the car note. Got to buy groceries and have utilities. So these are things that I couldn't pay in one check. You know, I got the degree, I've got the skills, but the money I'm getting in the student loan, let's not forget that, because they start you have to start paying your student loan back 6 months after you graduate.
Right.
So I didn't have enough money in that one check to pay those basic bills. So I was thinking, this is not
add
an
up,
American dream.
Right. American nightmare.
Nightmare,
Yeah.
exactly. So then I started thinking, you know, what can I do? So, you know, multi-level marketing. I started doing those types of side gig things to bring in more money.
Right.
And so at some point, you know, after
did that even pan out?
No, it did not. As
you just paid in a lot every month.
Time that I put into it, you know, and that could be a whole documentary on that. You know what I'm saying?
Keep the main thing the main thing.
The main thing. So I, you know, after getting my car repossessed a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah.
You too?
Me too. And I just felt like, okay, I got to do something different, you know? So, and this was, let's say 20 years ago.
No, I get that. Yeah.
As time goes on, I just realized you're never going to get ahead working for
entities,
someone else, because you're building their business.
Yeah.
So Steffanie, you need to get a business.
You need to mind your own business.
Mind your own business so you can start taking advantage of the tax code.
Right.
So then you just start to learn things that you didn't learn in college or learn in school, but being around people who you see the value in them being a coach or a mentor, and they start to share these things with you. Then I just realized, okay, you know, I have the degree, and college gives you so much more than a degree. You do meet people from different walks of life.
Yeah, the relationships that depends too, because if you go to a HBCU, you truly build relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've never been to college, but I've just kind of I've seen the difference, right? And then if you go to a PWI, right, you meet people along the way, but you really don't have that Rolodex of contacts like you would at an HBCU.
Or at least for us. Now, I don't know how they relate to each other, but I agree.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I don't want to say, you know, I don't want to encourage anyone or make them think that we're saying going to college is not worthwhile or not beneficial.
This is not what this episode is about. This episode is about having options.
Correct.
So if college is an option, by all means, right? But that's not for everybody. We're
I
talking about
agree.
what's the option for you, right? So we're talking about what's the option for you because you did the college thing, right? You did it twice. Yeah, you
Exactly.
got 2 degrees. You got more than a thermometer. But I want to unpack, you know, how you built 6 figures, and again, not having that college degree. Did you know going into the airlines that you could generate 6 figures, or was it or you just wanted to see the world and travel? You didn't care if they paid you 1 figure.
Well, now of course, I always say I'm not here for the good times, but I'm here for the money, not the good time.
Okay.
So I do, and I think most people do care about the amount of money, but getting into the airline industry for me was more about having access to travel
Okay.
because my mother loves to travel, loved that she recently passed.
Okay.
She loved to travel.
God
I
rest her
love to
soul.
travel.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so we traveled together, went to, many countries. And so just building those memories with her by having access to travel and not have to pay full price
Okay.
was something that I always wanted to do. So that's what attracted me to being a flight
But
attendant
but
or
did
the
but
airline
did
industry.
you research what the income potential could be, or you just went into it?
No, I I would say I researched. I didn't start off as a flight attendant.
Okay.
I
What
s-
did you start off
I
as?
started off as a baggage claim handler.
Really?
Yes, throwing bags, and they don't make a lot of money, but I always try to see what is it, the good or the benefit of whatever the downside might be.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you're outside hot slinging people's luggage, but it's the exercise. You're getting your exercise in, Stephanie. And so I looked at it like that and as a stepping stone to higher pay. But at least you're starting in the industry, you get the flight benefits. And so I remember some of my coworkers and I would fly to Chicago for the day and get Chicago style pizza
Or
or
Garrick's popcorn?
or Garrett's
Popcorn,
popcorn, but
yeah.
that popcorn got so much sugar in it, Kevin. I cannot,
What now? Wait, hold on now. Wait
I
a minute.
cannot eat all that
Just
popcorn these
focus on the
days.
popcorn, not the
But
calories.
I cannot. I cannot.
Okay.
I
All right.
always
So,
have
all right.
to.
Move on, because
But Garrett's popcorn
is the
is
bomb.
good. It
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
But so we would do those types of things. And so at some point I realized, wow, flight attendants make great pay. But of course, you might not start out as with most jobs. You don't start out with the best pay. You start out with sh- the basic pay
Okay.
and then you build up from there. So I've been a flight attendant for 12 years
Okay.
now.
Now,
And
well, let me ask you this. Speaking of flight attendants, is the number of minorities as flight attendants, is that number still low, or has that number risen?
well, when you say minorities, are we talking about men? Because
I'm
traditionally a
I'm talking
flight
about
attendant is a woman,
black
so a minority could be
men, women. I'm talking about Hispanics. Yeah. I'm talking about brown people.
it. You know what? It has grown because as the airlines travel or when they have their flight uh, destinations to other countries
Yeah.
like Asia, Africa,
Right.
then they hire flight attendants who can speak
That nationality.
that language and who can relate to those passengers. So so that makes them bring on a diverse group of flight attendants who can relate to the people that they're going to be serving on that flight.
Okay.
So it's kind of
So what percentage do you think, if you just had to give a percentage, and not saying it's an accurate percentage, it's just a educated guess, what percentage of minorities are flight attendants?
So out of the numbers of flight attendants, I would say probably 20%,
Okay.
25% are black and brown,
Okay.
can speak another language other than
English.
English.
Okay.
Yes, because of you know just the travel routes, the routes where we go.
Right.
You want people to be able to communicate on the plane with the passengers going to that
Right.
destination,
Right.
that
Okay.
type of thing.
What percentage of minorities are pilots, you think?
Well, you know what? It was recently I had a conversation with some members of the Black Pilots Association because it was said that something around it was the conversation was around that the number of black pilots, but it would be far less to
Really?
short answer. Yeah,
Eh,
far less. One, because the well, I can't speak to exactly why, but it's just far less just because traditionally pilots are white men.
Right, right,
And so I guess maybe the pressure or the attention wasn't on diversifying the flight deck, but now you have more women who are pilots as well as black men and women who
right.
are pilots.
Now, let's go into the drone pilot industry. What percentage of minorities is in this space that you occupy?
I would say less than 2%. I
Really?
would say it's very out of 100 drone pilots,
Well, and when we say drone pilots, we talking about certified drone pilots, not uh
just a
people
hobbyist out
a
there.
hobby dronies. Yeah.
Right. I would say out of 100 drone certified drone pilots, you would have less than 5 are black men and black women.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let me ask you this. At any time did you ever wrestle with guilt or pressure, whether it was internal or external, for not using your degrees in the traditional way? And if so, how did you release that?
I would say probably because as a flight attendant, most people they think of flight attendants as not having any depth to what they're doing. It's just they're in the air serving us drinks, and that's the end all and be all of who they
Yeah,
are.
pretzels,
Right. And
coffee,
exactly. We're a waitress in the
canned
sky,
soda.
basically.
Oh wait, I never thought about it like that.
Well, and you shouldn't. And so thank thank you for that.
Okay,
Thank you for
okay,
that. But
okay,
because that's all they see,
okay,
so I wrote a book this it was called The Do's and Don'ts of Flying, a flight attendant's guide to airline travel secrets.
okay.
One of the things that I said towards the end or maybe in the middle was that if all you know about a flight attendant is that he or she served you drinks and nuts on the flight and it was a nice flight, then you should thank her or him because we are trained to evacuate the plane in a certain amount of time. If a crash happens, if somebody is pregnant and wants and has a baby
So
or
you need to learn. So you also have to know like CPR and first aid, right?
exactly
Okay,
CPR, first aid, emergency evacuation.
okay.
There is a lot that goes into our training. So if you never experienced any of that, you need to thank your flight attendant.
So let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna get back on the path. Okay, words have power, right or wrong.
Correct. I agree.
And I noticed that even when you all are making you all's uh, announcement,
Mhm.
you all are pitching us. You're pitching us,
Okay.
but you're pitching us in a way for us to be comfortable. So Why is that you all never say in the event of a crash, but you all say in the event of a water landing?
Or an emerge, they say something else other than crash, because we just don't want you to think about the worst case
Because
scenario.
I'll haul my ass off of that flight if you all ever said that in the event of a crash. Oh no, ma'am, I'm off.
and here's the thing though,
Go ahead.
Kevin. A flight, being in the air, flying on an airplane is safer than driving in a car.
No, I get that.
So, but people don't think about that you're sharing the ground space with hundreds of other people at any given time. From one stoplight to the next, 50 people pass through,
Yeah.
and so in the air, you have to stay a certain distance away from the other aircraft.
Right.
So there's less likely a chance that you're going to have a crash. But most people, because they are
Or an emergency landing.
they're unfamiliar with the process or with the rules of the sky,
Okay.
then they think, okay, it's more dangerous up here, but actually it's safer.
Okay. So I want you to take us to the beginning of TCB drones. Once the idea was planted, what were the real world steps you took? And I want you to give us the steps that didn't work and the steps that worked.
Well, I did my research and just looked into what's going to be the growing field, a growing industry. And of course, that's tech. So what inside of tech could I do with what I have now? Because I told myself a long time ago, I'm not going back to school. I'm not getting another degree. I'm not going to pay nobody else to tell me how smart I am. So that is just, I'm like, if I can't do it with the skills that I have, then it will not be done.
Okay.
And so I, of course, wasn't a pilot, and being a manned aircraft pilot was something that that was one of my goals in life.
Mm-hmm.
But the cost to get the flight hours and all that it entails for you to just start out in that career, it was cost prohibitive. So I thought, okay.
Now, hold on. Let's unpack that word prohibitive. Just in case someone don't know what that means. You couldn't afford it.
Exactly. I could not afford it.
Okay.
Because they charge you for when you're doing your flight hours or your training, it might be $400 an hour, $500 an hour. I don't know. It was too much. I couldn't do it.
Right.
And pay my mortgage. I can't do it.
Right.
So I thought, okay, Steffanie, that's the end of that. But maybe why don't you become a drone pilot, because it's a baby aircraft. So that's how, I thought, okay, you can do that. And I can spend, I think the cost of my first drone was $400.
Okay.
And so that is an expensive hobby to have if you're going to pay $400 into something and not do something with it. I've always been the type of person, don't play with my time, don't play with my money.
Okay.
And I'm not either. So if I'm going to spend $400 on something, trust, I'm going to be involved with it. I'm going to see it through.
Okay.
So I got the drone. And but I needed to know how to fly it. But here's the thing: if you want to if you want to be in business, you have to have a license. You have to. The FAA says if you want to make money with a drone, you have to be a
licensed
certified.
Right.
And so I knew I had to be certified. So I signed up for a community college course just to get familiar with what I would need to know.
Right.
Took that. And then went to YouTube, looked at some videos.
Not YouTube University.
YouTube University.
Okay.
You can find anything on YouTube. But I looked at some videos, and then I signed up for the Part 107 exam.
Okay.
It costs maybe $175 or $150, something like that.
Well, it depends on if you pass it the first time.
Well, whether or not you pass it, you have to pay to take it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if you don't pass the first time, then that's
more
another
money.
One.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So I did not pass it the first time.
Really?
I did not. And so that let me know, okay, Steffanie, you
So that thing is no joke. That test is no joke.
No, it is not. And here's why a lot of people they shy away from it. Because the FAA, as a drone pilot, you are sharing the sky with manned aircraft with people on board, with SOBs, we call them, souls on board. So
that's not son of a.
Correct. It's not that.
Okay.
SOB, souls on board.
Wow.
So you have to know what manned aircraft pilots know, like for as far as weather, as far as weight and balance of your drone, how to read weather reports, how to communicate with those aircraft. And so there's things that you have to know on the test that you probably, that as a drone pilot are not pertinent to you operating your drone, but because you are sharing the sky with those aircraft, you have to know that according to the FAA. So that's why it's a lot to it. It's nothing that you can just wake up and say, I'm gonna go take that drone test and pass it, and you know nothing about aviation.
So that's all. It's like saying, waking up one morning and saying, I'm gonna take the driver's test and never study for it, right?
Correct.
You will flunk.
You will flunk.
Okay.
And so even with me studying, I still flunked. Now, I don't like to say that word flunk.
Well, you didn't pass it.
I didn't. Let's say that.
Yeah,
I didn't pass it.
You made a 69.
To pass, you have to make a 70 on the test, and I was a few.
I said, well, I bumped you a few points
below that.
Okay.
And
you 65.
So, I can't remember. And I'm like that when things that don't go my way.
Right, you forget about it.
I brush it off and keep going.
Okay, so let me ask this question. You finally passed the test.
Correct.
What inspired you to create a drone academy? And did you know that you were the first Black female in the state of Texas to do that? Or you wasn't even aware of it?
I was not aware of it. What inspired me? I just knew I wanted to start a business because I with all my research in what drones were going to be doing and how they were going to be used in various capacities, I knew that I want to start a company so I can, one, help other people to get hired in as drone pilots.
Okay.
Because I didn't expect to do everything myself, but I knew I wanted to start a business to help other people.
So how did you know that you was the first Black female?
Here's the thing. I didn't know, but I read this marketing or I listened to marketing videos, and they said grasp something that is not necessarily something that people can refute.
Okay, now you done use another big A word. What does refute mean?
They can't disprove it.
Okay.
So I did some research to look up.
So that's how I know you got 2 degrees. You're using these big A words.
Well, and thanks for that. But hopefully I'm putting them to use more than big A words. But I'm with you. I'm with you. I just felt like, I went to the state of Texas, Secretary of State, where they have all the listings of drone companies. And based on my research, there was only 1 or 2 women that were listed, and none of them were Black women.
Really?
And so then I thought, okay, that can be something that I can put on my resume, the first Black woman to register a drone company in Texas. And so there might be somebody else who registered one, but they weren't before me.
Okay, so when you learned that, what went through your mind?
I thought, that's a good selling point. But as far as
the only thing went through your mind was a good selling point.
Yes, because
Steffanie.
now that I've been working with Team Vision LLC.
Who's a part of Team Vision?
You are.
Who is you?
Kevin Williams.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to,
Because you have shown me that you can use those types of
stories.
thank
Mhm.
you. You can use those types of stories to have people to relate to you and hopefully inspire them to be the first in their line of work or be the first in their family. And so that's what people can relate to is people who do something different or do something first.
So tell the story how we met.
Well, like I said, I am someone who likes to absorb knowledge.
Okay.
So I listen to webinars, podcasts, and so you had a podcast. Oh, I'm sorry, you had a webinar that you were going to coach people to pitch, to have a better pitch.
Right.
And so I was planning. I was applying to a pitch competition,
Right. Good
and
soil
so
pitch competition.
good soil pitch
It was what,
competition.
500,000?
It was the top
The
one.
total.
Oh, the total?
Yeah.
I just knew it was a lot of money and
Right,
I
right, right.
wanted some of it.
Right.
So I said, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna apply." And then I saw your webinar.
And you thought I was connected to that, didn't
I did.
you? Yeah.
I did. And so you called me, and I know right off the bat, because you when you called me and I probably said, "Hi, I'm Steffanie, how can I help you?" or something like that over the phone. And then you started saying something and maybe my tone was like, okay, she's about to, get defensive because you were like, hold on now, hold on. And I'm like, okay, because it just didn't sound like it was about to go where I thought it was going to go about, can I get a drone lesson or something like that is
Right.
where I
Because I
thought you
said
were going to go.
I saw your email and I said it was unique and it had drone in it. And I said, I said, tell me about that. And then that's when you started telling me the story, like you had, registered the business with the state of Texas, and you was the first Black female. That was what caught my attention. And I said, we may be able to, get more visibility on what it is that you're doing. Because before we started working with you, you had been working with another company, right?
Stop.
I mean, for real.
Yes, I have been working with another team, marketing team,
Oh,
for at least 6 months.
some other folks.
Some other folks, and the return on investment, let's just say that, there was none. There was zero.
Yeah.
And I know that things don't jump off immediately. At least that had been my experience.
Right.
And so I will say that since you and since TCB Drones and Team Vision LLC have been working together, 45 days?
If that.
So much has jumped off. So I was wasting time with these other folks, okay? But going back, so when we were on the phone and you said, we may be able to do something with this, we can get you, and you started naming,
Business Insider and Yahoo Finance and stuff. Yeah.
exactly, all those articles and coverage.
Yeah.
You know what I said to myself, Kevin, and I've never told you this.
What?
I said, I can write an article and put it in a magazine. That's what I said to myself. And then my next statement to myself was, but you haven't, Steffanie.
Wow.
And so I was like, Steffanie, just, you've been looking for somebody else because this other team, no return on investment.
Right.
You've been looking for somebody. So, and you need a team. You can't do everything yourself. And I will say that's a lesson to others. You can't do everything yourself. So my expertise, my craft is being a drone pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm a journalist by profession and I can write and edit and all that, I only have 24 hours in a day and I
Right.
just cannot do everything. And so you got to build a team around you of people
And
who you
delegate.
trust, yes, who
Yeah.
can help you to get to where you're trying to go.
Right.
And in the past 45 days, I would say we have done more in 45 days than I did with my previous team in 6 months. And that is like
Night and day.
night and day.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, because your press release was picked up by Black Enterprise, and we haven't even did the national press release, like Associated Press, Business Insider, Yahoo Finance. I mean, we agreed to do that in August because of what this PR is currently doing. So, what do you say to the entrepreneur, to the business owner who's constantly marketing? And when I say marketing, this is what I mean by that. Because I mean, yes, we have to market, right? But what do you say about the people who are constantly marketing on their, personal social media pages, not really getting traction, but it's almost like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, looking for a different outcome. Because we do some, you know, uh, management on your social media platforms, but I also did a comparison. The same day that Black Enterprise picked up your press release, I had, did something on your social media page, and within that same time frame of maybe a couple of hours, I think like on your personal page, that post was shared like maybe 3 times, had like 23 likes, 2 comments, right? And then when I compared it to what the press release on Black Enterprise, within that like 2 hours, it had already been shared like 200 times. It had like 500 likes. It had over 500 or 600 comments. And so, what do you say to that person who says, "Okay, Kevin, um, what is it that I need to know? What does Steffanie need to say to me, the person that's going to be watching this interview, to say, you know, we need to reach out to Team Vision."
Well, and I think I told you this, that I am just amazed, and it must be that you are a great storyteller, and that know you study people, there's their psychology and what makes them react. Because I told you, I've been sending out emails, I've been doing posts, had that team doing posts, and no, and the same these people who are now liking and saying, "Wow, I want to get involved," are the same people who were like on mute. They weren't saying anything. They weren't responding to the emails or anything.
Right.
And so I just thought, just keep pushing through, just find your market. Maybe they're not your market. And then when I hired your team and you started telling my story in a different way,
Hmm.
those same people responded.
Hmm.
So I would say that hiring you because you know what works, and that's important. We can try to, and then I'll say, I also believe this. I mean, I have a drone company. Drones are one of the fastest global have the fastest global growth. So I knew, Steffanie, it's not the drone, it's you. What are you not doing?
Hmm.
And so, that just understanding that if you're in a growth industry and everybody else is growing around you,
Right.
then you need to see what they're doing, or go hire somebody who can help you to make those changes. And so that's what I did. And so I owe you and your company that, for helping me to get the visibility that has brought so many people to our company, who want to get drone lessons, who want to get certified as drone pilots, who have come out and said, and just have written me, emailed me, and said, "Wow, we're looking for someone who can help us or help me." And
Right.
I've always wanted to be a drone pilot, but I didn't have anybody to ask. And I certainly understand that once you find someone who you can relate to and who you can be vulnerable with, and you can open up to them. Some people are just not, don't feel comfortable opening up to those people, and that's okay. We all have a certain comfort level that we have, and you just have to find the people who can help you and coach you through that. And so, one of the email exchanges that you had with the person who was on my previous PR team, when you
They
told
wasn't doing
him
no PR. That was on your
it wasn't PR.
no, they were just on your payroll.
So one of the people that was on my team on the payroll,
Right.
when we were trying to get things done as far as changes with the website
Right.
and all of that, one of the things that struck me was you were saying to that person, here's the direction we're gonna go. We're gonna start doing drone classes to help people to get certified. And he said to you in the email, nobody's paid her to do any classes. What are you talking about? Something like that. And I'm like, what? I can't do a class, like you are, discounting my skills or something.
Right.
So that's how I felt when he said that in the email. And I thought, okay, he is underestimating what Kevin's vision is for me and what my vision is for myself. And so that is another reason why I had already decided that I was going to end that relationship once I found another one, but you
Right.
don't quit a job before you have another job. You wait until you got another team member before you throw that one away.
Or I mean, unless you're me, I'll quit and don't have.
I'll
quit and don't have shit lined up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so
I mean, because if I'm saying walk by faith, right, and not by what?
sight.
I'm out. Otherwise, I'm contradicting what the word says, right?
Right. But I would think if I'm walking
I mean,
by faith,
but that's just me.
that's just you.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just me. So this is everybody operate different. For myself, I move at the speed of implementation because success is attracted to speed. It's not attracted to laziness. It's not attracted to slowness. It's not attracted to procrastination. It doesn't care about your race. It doesn't even care about your religion. It only cares about speed. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges most people who are business owners and entrepreneurs have, is that they don't understand success is attracted to speed. And so when the reason I mention that is because you and I drew in people, and your website wasn't even done. Did we
Right.
not?
Correct.
So talk about that. Talk about how done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done.
Correct. I agree 100%. So although I had a website, I had for a couple of months been trying to figure out what is working, what's going to make people purchase, what's going to turn, because we all like to have followers on social media and likes on social media, but my goal was to turn those likes and followers into paying customers, which
Right.
was not
Turning likes into swipes,
exactly.
comments into currency. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
But so my website was not doing that. And so I have mentors through different means. And one of them, one of the suggestions and comments was, your website needs to do this or your website needs to say that. And so I was working with my media team to make those changes, and the changes weren't happening, or it was just. And so when I met you and you decided that we decided we were going to work together, and we were trying to work with the team that I had, and the website, it became more of, well, or do we really want to do that? Or do we really want to? And I'm like, look, y'all, what we had was not working. Let's move towards what Kevin says is going to work. And so we were kind of like in that stage when we decided, let's do the webinar, let's start offering classes. And so yeah, the webinar, the website was there, but it wasn't effective and
or functional.
functional.
Yeah.
And so now it's much improved.
Oh yeah.
And we even have a landing page.
Right.
And people are able to go in and put in their information and leave me comments like, I am a student in Oregon, and I want to get my drone pilot's license, but I don't know any Black women, and I saw you and I'm so inspired and I want to be under you. And then I just left earlier today a family, a husband, wife, and their son who took drone pilot classes or drone lessons from me because they saw the article that you did. So it's just amazing. And I'm lining up people to do the lessons, do the classes, the webinar. And it's just, I'm like, wow, this is what I envisioned that the company could be. And so I recently went through a Disney leadership experience because Disney is looked at as one of those companies that has the vision and brought it together, Walt Disney, and built a team of thousands of employees to take forth his vision.
Right.
And it's often said that the person in front of the camera or the Walt Disney you see, there's always somebody behind the scenes doing it. He might be the face, but there's always another person,
the executor,
to execute. So I knew that I might be the person up front, but I need someone to help me that is just as committed to the vision as I am. And so that's what I was where I was falling short.
So let me ask you this. To the person listening right now, listening and watching, who's educated, who's capable, but yet stuck, and they're waiting on a perfect path, right? What would you say? What's their next move if their vision came from God?
So God doesn't give us a vision and not the means to make it happen, bring it to fruition. We have to, so I would say, um, don't let the fact that, oh, I have this degree, so I have to work in this field, or I've trained to do this, but just do what is going to bring you joy and bring you the income that you want, that you desire. Go to where the people are who are going to pay the money to pay you to be a drone pilot, or it doesn't even have to be that, but don't be afraid to step out of the box that somebody has put you in or that you put yourself in. We put ourselves in these boxes, and then I would say we as Black people have so much knowledge and skill, but we allow other people to tell us, no, we're not going to pay you for that. We want you to go over here and do that. And so we end up underestimating the value that we bring to a situation. And so we need to stop doing that. Go to where the people are who are going to pay you to do what it is you want to do. And don't be afraid to do something new, something different. One of the people that I spoke with because of the Black Enterprise article, he said that he has like 30 something years of experience in law enforcement. He's been on the SWAT team. He's done all these law enforcement things, but he is trying to make ends meet and he wants, he was like, "I wanna get my drone pilot's license." And I'm saying to myself, "Why is that not working for you?" And in a roundabout way, he just said, the opportunity to excel in whatever he is doing, his skill set, he's been unable to do that for whatever reason. So we gotta think out of the box because he should be a consultant at the very least. He should be doing something other than, and he also said, "I'm tired of jumping, doing all this physical work."
Right.
It's like, I get it. So, just doing what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what brings you the income that you want is not that far away. You just have to have a team of people or have uh visionaries around you to help you to bring it to fruition.
So, and I want to close with this, and this is something I'm always sharing with individuals, audiences, and even on social media. The biggest challenge with our Black community is that we overvalue our labor and we undervalue our knowledge. And so my my thing is to disrupt that pattern, right? To let you know that there's more money in what we know than it'll ever be in what we do. And that if you have 10 or more years of expertise or experience, it can be monetized into a book. And so now you're getting paid for what you know and less for what you do. I think we need to be getting paid 80% for what we know and 20% for our labor. And the way the world is shifting, if we don't overvalue our knowledge, automation is going to replace the labor.
Right.
I mean, look
Most
at these little
definitely.
robots, right? I mean,
Mhm.
pretty soon they're gonna have arms and legs. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's nothing. There's nothing that we can do to prevent that. It is of of the coming age. But we have to get in front of the wave.
True. I agree. That was a lesson um, that I learned because I've done, like I said, multi-level marketing, and one of the things is that was taught was find out where the wave is going and get in front of it.
Hmm.
And um, you're right. We do undervalue our knowledge. And there's so much that we can share that people are paying to know, whether you offer online classes or whether you offer self-paced courses. People are, traditionally we go to a university, but a university can be online these days. So packaging our knowledge so we can share that and monetize it is what we should be doing. And it's what you have helped uh, me and TCB Drones to do. And so I am forever grateful to you for that. And I know we're just at the beginning stages, but just in the like last 45 days, not even, I can see where we're headed. And so I'm looking forward to the possibilities.
Right. And that's what Catch the Vision is all about. It's about trusting the assignment, even when it doesn't match our credentials, right? Uh, and you, Stephanie, you have showed us today that your degrees can be valuable, but your destiny isn't limited to what is on paper per se, right? Because when God gives you a vision, He also provides for it. right?
Amen. I
Yeah.
agree.
And when you move in what I call obedience, you don't just work, you begin to build a legacy. And so until the next time, because this won't be the last time, right? Until the next time, keep catching the vision.
Will do. Thank you for having me.